Hi, I'm Audrey, and I am one of the many faces of anxiety and depression. Over the last month, I've been working to get my meds straight and to get myself back out into the world, and I have yet to be successful. So now I am working through lots of different types of medications to figure out what I can do to help myself get better. Instead of talking about all of this after the fact and after I'm better and back and up for anything, I figured I would give it a shot to try talking about it while I am on the road to getting back to my normal self. I start with a new doctor on Tuesday. She specializes in anxiety and depression, and so hopefully she will be the right fit for me. I've already been to a couple that I have not liked. They haven't been the right fit. They haven't taken me seriously, which happens quite a bit, especially with women. So here we are, day 1 of 30, and for anyone else out there who is suffering or struggling or having an off day or can't get out of bed or is just a little shaky, I've got your back. There's nothing you can say or do, or can not say and not do, or there's nothing that you could cancel on that would not let me have your back. So kind of feel like we're all in this together, and the more people who know and understand about what really happens when you're going through this, the better. And so you'll hear more about my struggle, but for the next 30 days I will be documenting a little piece of what it's like. Hey guys, it's Audrey. This is me getting out of the house and walking to my psychiatry appointment. I've got my war paint of my PTSD bracelet. Normally war paint also includes makeup, but not today, my friends, because my hands were too shaky to put any eyeliner on. That's cool because I'm outside. I feel very exposed, very raw, so I'm about to call my mom, and she's going to talk me the rest of the way there. So here I am, a 33-year-old woman, having to call her mom to walk her basically to a doctor's appointment. But you know what? That's okay, because I'm going, and that's all that matters. And however I can get there is how I can get there. Much love. Bye. So here's my story of today. Fought through another one, and by fought through I mean slept through, and then stayed in bed, and then didn't accomplish anything, and then had a panic attack because my husband, who was supposed to print something off for me for tomorrow, forgot to print it off, and so I panicked because it means that I'll have to do it tomorrow. And all it means is that it's going to be an interaction. I just have to go to the UPS store. It's not a big deal. At least it's not a big deal to most people. But people like me in my position right now, it's kind of the worst thing that could happen. And that seems silly, and it seems slight, and it seems just walk out the door and go to the UPS store. But that comes with lots of panic, lots of anxiety, lots of shaking, lots of shame for freaking out about it in the first place. Lots of shame for having to even have someone else do it in the first place, because if I wasn't in this position, I would be at work, and if I was at work, then I could print it off myself and everything would be fine. So that's my day to day in the life of sharing my crazy. But it doesn't make me less than. It doesn't make me less than anyone else. It just means that I'm dealing with something else. So when you have the flu, you're not less than. You've just got the flu. And right now, I'm not less than. I'm just suffering from anxiety, depression, and a touch of PTSD. So that's me for today. Hopefully tomorrow goes well. Wish me luck. Coming to you from the park today with little man D. So I just wanted to take the opportunity today, because it's pretty windy and it's gusts of winds, and a lot of people don't understand what it feels like to have anxiety and or panic disorders and all of that stuff. I was lying in bed and I was thinking that, I could hear the wind rushing and all of that stuff, and we've all had that moment where we've been sitting somewhere and we have papers on a table and then there's a gust of wind and it comes out of nowhere, and your papers fly everywhere, and all you're trying to do is to catch everything, and you feel a little bit out of control, and you don't know how to react. You might get a little bit angry, you might think it's funny. All of these things go through your head and through your body, and there's just an uptick in what you're feeling, and that's a little bit of what it's like. So I'm here sitting in a park because I have to walk the little man, and I'm shaking, and the wind is around me, and it's all coming out of nowhere, and I feel very alone, and my anxiety is peaking. But since it's gotten cold, it's actually kind of okay to sit here and shiver on a bench, because there are other people shivering on benches because they're cold, and so I don't feel as out of place and I don't feel as crazy. And I know I keep using this word crazy. The fact of the matter is, none of us are crazy. It's my way to poke a little fun at what is happening, because that's all I've got. So I am in the middle of a windstorm, and my papers are flying everywhere, and there's no one there to pick them up for me, and I have said that I have PTSD, and so some people might think that what I'm going through has more to do with that than the anxiety, and the answer to that is it doesn't. It's just another added on layer of what's happening, so that's pretty awesome to have going on. But I've actually been having these experiences since I was a kid. They just manifested in different ways. For instance, when I would have a bad dream or get scared at night, I would stay incredibly still, and I would not go back to sleep, and I wouldn't go to my sister's room or to my parents' bed, because I was afraid that if I did, I would find them dead. My family jokes about it and what a dark, twisted person I am, and that's all true, and that's a lot of what my art is about, because those experiences are real. And so if you have a friend who says that they have anxiety or depression or PTSD, you know, check in. And also be okay if they don't respond, because sometimes a check-in feels just as much like a windstorm as everything else does. But I guarantee they'll appreciate it. All right, I'm signing off now because Deuce is now shivering with me. And there's a dog that he wants to play with. So the things that we do for our little furry puppy friends. Today was a pretty cool day. I slept a little during the day, and tonight my husband and I went out and I was social for the first time outside of my own friends who know what's happening with me and who are super supportive. But today I wanted to talk to you about nightmares. Nightmares are a pretty important part of what happens with depression, anxiety, and PTSD. They get incredibly vivid. Mine have always kind of warped with reality the further away I get from the dream, but since I have been in this heightened place for the last 6 weeks, if there's somebody that I know in the dream, it is very difficult for me to distinguish whether or not it is true or not. For instance, last week, I legitimately could not figure out who I was married to for the first 2 hours after I woke up, because I had such an intense dream with one of my ex-boyfriends, and then I woke up and I was confused and I knew that that wasn't right, but I couldn't figure out what was right. And so the dreams that we have aren't that easy to put aside, put away, dismiss, or shake off. It's not just about, we'll go back to sleep and you'll be fine. They really penetrate our lives in a very sometimes chaotic way. So if any of you out there are having trouble with your dreams or nightmares, just remember you're not alone. When you wake up, you are okay, you are safe, and hopefully you are working with a therapist or somebody who is on the road with you to help you get rid of them and help make your life easier by distinguishing all of these crazy, vivid dreams. All right, see you again tomorrow. Much love. Today had a lot of wins, I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty awesome. My hair looks a little different because I went and I treated myself and I got a blowout. My hair is too long for me to blow dry it myself anymore. So I got a little bit pampered. I still can't put fucking eyeliner on and it is making me crazy, but that's another time. I am coming to you from a phone that might not explode. So I made it to the AT&T store to turn in my Galaxy Note 7 for just the regular Galaxy 7. So that's a big win, and now I'm not going to constantly be feeling my phone to see if it's starting to get warm to make sure that it's not going to explode today. And then I went to the post office and I picked up a package for Bobby, so that was huge as far as I'm concerned. And then when I got home, we watched a movie and had a nice little family night with the pupster, who's being pretty adorable right over here. He is still sticking by me pretty much nonstop, all the time, always, which is really lovely and adorable and cute. although he's no longer waking me up in the middle of the night growling, thinking that I need to be alerted to something because now Bobby's home. So Bobby can take care of it. Deuce doesn't need to. And that's pretty adorable and funny. Anyways, tomorrow we are off to DC. We decided to take it easy tonight and relax, and we'll just go up in the morning. And so for the next 2 days, I'll be coming at you from DC, and we'll see how it goes day by day. Just because today was a good one doesn't mean that tomorrow will be as well, but it doesn't mean it won't be. Happy Friday! Hey guys, it is Saturday. We are driving to DC, and I happen to be in the driver's seat, and I had forgotten how good it feels to just get on the highway and drive and listen to music. And I realized that that's something really big that's missing from my life, because when I commute into the city and all of that, I don't want to have music playing because it doesn't feel safe to me. I want to be aware enough of my surroundings to hear if someone's coming up behind me or whatever. Definitely had to take Xanax, because the moment that I realized I was going to start driving, you know, that tightening of the chest and the quickening of the breath started, and it's just been so long that I was just kind of like, whoa! And he has this new car, and it feels so much bigger, and you know, all of these things are just like racing through my head, and I had kind of just felt like I had completely forgotten how to drive, which is silly, but that's, you know, that's what my brain does when I'm put in a situation that I'm not prepared for right now. Which is unfortunate, because I'm used to being a very spontaneous, let's go anywhere, do anything type of person, but at this moment in time, I need to be a planner, and I need to know what I'm getting myself into, so that these shocks and surprises and bumps along the way don't overwhelm my system to the point where I can't function for the day. So, so far so good. Everything's going according to plan-ish. And obviously if I need to, I'll pull over and he'll start driving. But, you know, this, again, feels like a pretty big win. But the one thing that I do think is really important to remember is that at different times in your life, you need different things. So there are times where I need to be and can be spontaneous, and there are times when I need to be measured and planned out and, you know, scheduled, basically. And for anyone who knows me, me being scheduled and having a list and all of that stuff is kind of my worst nightmare, but that's what I need right now. And hopefully I'll be able to get off of that, but I might not, and that's okay. So just let yourself experience whatever you need to experience. Let yourself change. Let yourself evolve, because it doesn't mean you're going to be like that forever and always. It just means that that's what you need to do for yourself to keep yourself safe and together and as functional as possible in the moment. All right, happy Saturday. So this is actually the second video that I have recorded today, because the first one wasn't entirely truthful and left out something that was really important. So the most important thing for me is to be honest about this journey and what I go through and what other people who are like me go through. It started out great. I sent my husband on his way to his marathon. I really wanted to go and pop up and cheer for him in lots of different places, but it was too overwhelming, and I also had to get back and pack and check out of the hotel, so everything was just kind of like swimming and there was lots of stuff in my head. But I did manage to, by just seconds, get there to see him cross the finish line. So that was really cool and amazing. And then we went out to eat with his training partner and his training partner's dad, and so that was all fine and dandy. And then we get back to the hotel, and because we decided to stay an extra night because Bobby was just too far gone after running 26.2 miles, don't blame him, and I just really wasn't in a state where I could drive us home. So we got the hotel room for another night. We came in and we both immediately fell asleep. Woke up and realized that all of our bags were still in the trunk of the car. So he's still hop along and trying to get his body to work again. So I said that I would go down to the garage and get the bags. So I'm on my way down there and everything seems fine. And then when I get out of the elevator, there's a guy and he gives me like the creepiest smile. And immediately I realize that I am now in a situation where it would be really difficult for me to get out of if, something bad were to happen, or if someone were to attack me or, assault me in any way. And so I, ran over to the car basically, and there was nobody else in the parking lot. It's also one of those parking garages that doesn't have pedestrian exits unless you have your key card out. And so that just also really freaks me out and makes my heart go faster, because as I have said many times, my hands are really shaky right now. So the idea of having to maneuver something in order to get safe is a really rough thing to know. So obviously nothing happened. I'm totally fine. But, it did cause, in no uncertain terms, quite a bit of panic and anxiety. So for all of the wins that I had today, I definitely still had my moments of intense anxiety, sometimes to the point of being debilitating. And, that's how it's going to be for a while. It's going to be a mixed bag. But as long as I can get myself out there and not get down on myself for the times when things go wrong, because it's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. And if you're experiencing any of these things, you didn't do anything wrong. None of this is your fault. Just get help, ask for help, be honest with yourself about things that you can do and can't do, and we will all get through this together. Today could have been a better day. I think my body just shut down. I was just overwhelmed from the last couple of days, and so the real shit thing of it is that I slept through my therapy appointment. Obviously I'll be making another one, but it really makes you feel like a failure when the one thing that you had to do for the day was go to your therapy appointment. That's it. I don't have any other responsibilities right now. All I had to do was do that. And I didn't wake up. And that really sucks. And there are a lot of people out there that aren't as lucky as I am. It's just kind of the worst, and it's really disappointing. And there's all of this negative talk in my head, and every single time I don't get something done, or I don't do the right thing, or I feel like someone's upset, or I don't answer my phone, which, to be honest, I never answer my phone. That's always been an anxiety thing of mine. But I I'm just really disappointed because I feel like, you know, I've had a lot of wins and that's really awesome. And then I go and do this. And so I know it's okay. I know it's fine. I know that it's going to happen, and it's going to happen a lot more than just today. And that's okay. But it does get really frustrating. And so, you know, when somebody else out there says, man, I just really feel like shit because I didn't do this or that or whatever, try not to say that it, you know, it's no big deal. Why are you even worried about it? Because that person, to that person, it might be a big deal. It might be that one thing on their list that they needed to accomplish to feel like a person. And it's really important that, you know, the people that they have that are around them say things like, hey, you know, do you want me to go with you tomorrow to do it? Or how can I support you in that? Or, hey, don't worry about it. We all miss deadlines. Things happen. Just don't undermine people's feelings, because that's when we start to feel isolated and alone. So today I slept through my therapy appointment, and that really sucks. But tomorrow I will call and reschedule, and we'll hopefully have better news for you. Hey guys, today I'm coming at you from my porch. It's nice outside. Today I want to talk about the stigma surrounding mental health and why so many of us don't talk about it and the reactions that we get when we do. Something interesting that I have found is that people whom I love and adore and who I know love and adore me don't like, comment, or share or whatever on any of my videos. And one day I turned to one of them and I was like, hey, what's up with that? And the basic gist was that, you know, since it's public, since I share everything public, since I want as many people to hear about this as possible, a like or a comment would then have their friends or followers or whatever see. So they would see a family member of theirs, a best friend of theirs, a loved one of theirs, who's going through something like this. And it just felt wrong to them, and it felt weird. And so we kind of like dug into it, and it basically came down to the fact that there is such a stigma surrounding mental health. If I had cancer, if I had the flu, if I broke my leg, if I was doing 30 days about how I'm going to get back on my nutritional plan, nobody would think twice about, you know, sharing information and commenting and all of that stuff. But for some people, there is a pause before that happens, and that's part of the reason why it's so important to me to talk about my struggles, because we should all be able to talk about it. We are, a lot of us adults, some of us children, and I don't mean that in the demeaning way. You know, we're all in this world together, and we've all got our own struggles. My struggle is no more important than anyone else's struggle. But if we don't talk about our struggles, we can't mend fences. We can't be there for each other. We can't reach out at that crisis moment. You know, with all of these cases coming out about bullies and people killing themselves because they didn't see a way out. Well, if they had felt like they could talk to somebody, then, maybe some lives would have been saved and things would be different. And I'm not saying anyone in their family or their friend group didn't make it very clear that they did have someone to talk to. But sometimes we don't hear that the same way that it is being said to us. Sometimes when I want to talk about, what's going on with me today, if I feel the slightest bit of like hesitation or eye roll or like, well, yeah, but I had a really stressful day, so we need to talk about mine first. Then, I shut down and I become less than. And I'm trying to get stronger because that is my own personal feeling. And what should happen in that moment is I should say, hey, I get it. You can go next. I brought it up first, so I get to tell my story. There's Deuce. He's very concerned about me. The neighbors are playing a very loud TV show. He thinks they're in the house and can't find them, and it's hilarious. The other thing about the stigma is in the workplace. I am in the theater. I have a theater company called Ivy Theater, and we do work that's by, for, and about underrepresented voices, which is probably why I'm so apt to talk about this issue. So I was doing 2 shows at the same time, which is something that I've done before and have handled quite well. When this mental breakdown happened, my company handled it really well with nothing but love and support and fantasticness and don't worry, we got this, we got you. And when I came back for the final weekend of shows, it was nothing but like, oh, it's so great to see you. Let's all celebrate. We're all together again. Yay, woohoo, go team. The other show that I was working on, however, did not have that same feel. And I was talking with my producing partner in my company, and she was just incensed. She was like, I mean, like, would they have done that if you had gotten into a car accident? Would they have done that if you had broken your leg? Would they have done that if, myriad of other things had happened? And the answer is probably no. It would have been stressful. It always is. When there's a last minute horribleness, it's stressful. But the beauty of theater is you come together and you get it done as a team. And there's a pinch hitter, someone comes in, someone steps up, someone, helps to fix it. And it's happened in almost every one of my shows. And while I might be, frustrated and stressed in the moment, I have never blamed it on that person. But that's probably because of the issues that I have. So I am more empathetic, and I understand that sometimes, even though the show must go on, the show does not trump your physical and mental well-being. And the other thing about putting all this out there is that future employers are going to see this. Other theater companies are going to see this, and they might not hire me. I may no longer be hireable because I'm putting this out into the world. But it's more important to me to make other people feel like their voices can be heard, and like we can have a conversation, and we can make mental health something that's at the forefront, something that's treated just as seriously as every other disease, because it is serious and it's real. And the more we talk about it, the more we find out about it, the more tricks we find, the more, hey, when I get really anxious, I have to put my back against a wall so that I only have to protect, 3 sides of me instead of 4. Well, that might help somebody. So if you have anxiety or depression or PTSD, don't be afraid to share. You're not always going to get the response that you want, but if you want to start with just sharing with me, I'm here. I am here for you. I've got your back, and anything I say will come from nothing but love. So we all need to get help in the ways that we can, and we need to surround ourselves with people who not only understand what you're going through, because my producing partner doesn't. She doesn't have anxiety. She's the most vivacious, extroverted, beautiful soul in the world, but she listens, and she takes me at my word, and she has since started to change the way that she interacts with me. So instead of, hey, what do you want to do? She says, hey, do you want to hang out? I'll find us something to do, because logistics are difficult for me right now. And so she's maneuvering in this really amazing way, and it's just really beautiful to me. And also, all of you who have reached out and who have said that you are there for me and that you're supporting me, it's amazing. And I encourage you to share any of these videos that you think might help anyone in your life. You can give them my contact information. I'm doing this for all of us. That sounds very self-important, but that's not how I mean it. I'm doing this to really break open a barrier, and I hope that I get through to at least one person. I hope that one person has been watching these and either says, man, that's what's going on with my partner, my friend, my coworker, my whomever. Now I know, and I can, be a support system for them. And then also, if it's you, if you're the one that is struggling and you're white knuckling it through, and you're just trying to keep your head above water, I know what that is, and it's hard, and you shouldn't do it alone. And we might be strangers, but I will grab your hand. I will help you swim to shore. I will do whatever I can to help you understand that you're not alone, and that my problems and your problems might be different, but we can get through it together. So let's get through this together, everybody. I love you. Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you about meltdowns. There's like this thing that happens to me. I don't know if it happens to anybody else, but it's not an anxiety attack, it's not a panic attack, it's just a full-on meltdown. It happened to me yesterday because one of my favorite things in the whole world are cinnamon rolls. When we were in DC, I bought a little pack of 6 of the mini buns and some extra icing, and I was going to use them as my treats for accomplishing things, doing things well, whatever, because yes, I am currently treating myself like I am a puppy, and that is okay. So I come home from accomplishing these 2 major things, and I moved Bobby's car, and I got our medicine, and I talked to people, and I was pretty much okay. And then I get home and I don't see the Cinnabons anywhere. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I look in the trash can, and there it is, a box that is empty of Cinnabon cinnamon rolls. And I lost it. I just started crying. Like, I was a 3-year-old having a meltdown because I couldn't have my treat. So I like compose myself, shoot some like snarky texts off to my husband, and I'm like, ugh, you're dead to me. We have one rule in this house: if you finish it, you tell the other person. That rule was made because of me, because I get attached to snacks and food. And so then I'm talking to my mom, and it just happened all over again. Suddenly I was like, Mommy, he ate all my Cinnabons. And she, being the lovely woman that she is, comforted me, told me he loved me, and then at a certain point said, is it okay if I tell you that this is ridiculous? And I said, of course it's ridiculous. Everything that's happening is ridiculous. I'm having a meltdown because I couldn't eat a cinnamon roll. And then we both start laughing, and I climb out of my little mess of a meltdown that there is. But the fun part about that is, number one, just because you're having a meltdown doesn't mean you can't laugh at yourself. Just because you're having a meltdown doesn't mean that someone else isn't going to understand and be empathetic, even though they think it's ridiculous, because they love you. So find those people, reach out to those people, and again, I'm always here because I am obviously someone who will understand if someone has eaten your last anything and it makes you cry. All right, much love. Hi everyone. This is what it looks like to have an anxiety attack. I had been doing so well all day, and I think I just got overwhelmed. I don't know, and I just started crying, and it's hard for me to breathe, and I'm shaking, and this is my life. And there are lots of me's out there, and it might seem weird that I'm videoing it, but there's a lot of logical talk about mental illness, but at a certain point, the only way to understand it is to see it in action. So that's Deuce. He jumps up when this starts to happen to me. Hopefully this one will pass quickly, and it'll be okay. The good news is the medicine seems to be working, so even though it doesn't look like it, I'm moving in a positive direction. I want to thank everyone again for all of your
support and love during this. It means a lot, and it has helped get me through. And I'm gonna sign off now. Happy Sunday. Much love.
Hey guys, today you get me in my Saints gear because I just can't manage anything. So I want to talk about expectations and communication. I have gotten to the point where I give 0 fucks, and if I need something, I'm going to ask for it. And that includes if I am complaining about something and someone is trying to cheer me up or tell me to look on the positive side, then I can very simply say, hey, that's not what I need right now. What I need is for you to listen, or what I need is for you to join me in my misery, or what I need is a dog video, or any number of other things. A couple of things that this does is it gives me control over my interactions. It makes sure that I don't get overwhelmed by what other people are doing, or by the fact that they don't understand what I'm going through just because they think that what they're doing is helping when really it's hurting, but how would they know if you don't tell them? And setting expectations, I think, is also really important for any relationship, and just laying it out on the line what you need from somebody, or from, an upcoming interaction that you're going to have. I've been pretty clear that logistics are super overwhelming with me right now. So for the few people that I have planned to see, I have said that, and they have said, okay, great, meet me here at this time and everything is fine. And I've also been clear that, there is a high chance that I might cancel, and that's just how I'm living my life right now. It's not fun for anyone, but letting people know in advance is way more helpful, so they can ask questions in advance. You can prepare people for things in advance, and that does take away some of my anxiety about things. It helps with my relationship with my husband, and it just really, again, makes me feel like I'm in control of what's happening around me and in my life, and that's something that I desperately need right now, because I'm not in control of very much that's happening to me. It's been a rough day today, but after 12 hours, medicine is finally kicking in, so I stopped the full body shakes and all of that fun stuff. I'm just hoping to be able to sleep tonight. Saints won this weekend, who dat, and have a great night, and go vote tomorrow. Much love. Hey everyone. So I came to you earlier from a love rally. It was pretty awesome. But tonight, really, I want to talk to you about fear. Fear is really big, and is a really big part of anxiety and depression. So whenever anybody says anything that aligns with what I say to myself in my head, it just causes this circular effect, and it compounds whatever it is that I'm feeling. So if I feel like, and if I tell myself that I can't keep a date, and then my anxiety keeps me from keeping a date, and then somebody says, oh, you can't keep dates, then it compounds on me, and it just kind of presses me into the ground, and it is really hard and really tough to get out of. And
I was just talking to a friend of mine, and it was really interesting because she was saying how fascinating it was because her reaction is very different. So she'll be like, oh, I didn't make that date, but you know, whatever, I'll make the next one. Whereas my experience is, oh, I didn't make that date, I'm a terrible person, I deserve everything that's happening to me because I can't keep my commitments, and I'm shit, I'm horrible, I'm this bad word, that bad word, all of the bad words. And the simple truth is that's not true. But I tell myself that, and when people react poorly to my canceling or my whatevering, then it just confirms what I think about myself. So be kind. Be kind to people when they cancel on you or when they reschedule or whatever, because you don't quite know what they're going through. You have no idea. And your words might make an impact on them. I remember things from when I was like 7 that people have said to me. Like from 7 on, I remember every bad word that someone has said to me. And that is part of my sickness, it's part of my illness, and I wish it weren't the way that it is, but that's the way that it is. And I take everything on myself. I will fight the death that you're not that way. It's, you know, these actions, and if you have depression, it's not your fault, it's not anybody's fault, but for me, what I say to myself is, it is my fault, and I am to blame, and I am all of these terrible, awful things. So be kind. Be kind to one another. Be careful of your words, because they do matter. They really, really matter. And if you're not sure what to say, it goes to the whole, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, I don't completely agree to that. If it's someone you love, if it's a friend of yours, if you're not quite sure what to say yet, just wait and breathe and take it in and try to understand what they're going through, because they might be going through something like I am going through, which is really hard and terrible, and I feel like my brain is broken and that everything in my life has been blown apart, and I am just trying to put all the pieces back together. So have a happy Friday. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I'll be coming back to you tomorrow. And just, again, simple reminder to be kind and be generous with your hearts, and love each other. Hey everyone. Technically today is day 30 of this challenge, or whatever you want to call it, but I am going to make it day 29.5, and here's why. Because my medication switched, I'm a little slurry, I'm a little out of sorts, and so I don't want this to be, my final signing off. But I did want you to know that it's important to keep tabs on what your medicine is doing to you, because it's very easy to just say, oh, my doctor gave me this, so this is what I should take, when in reality, you should, make a journal or keep mental notes on how it's changing your body, how it's changing what you're doing, how you're feeling, so that you know that you're on the right medication.
And I know I've said it before, but the most frustrating part about all of this is finding the right doctors and finding the right medications, and it takes time. And it also takes you being brave enough to say, "Hey doc, this isn't working for me because of this." Or maybe I need a higher dosage, or maybe I need a lower dosage. I'm not quite sure what my scenario is right now. I'll be calling my doctor on Monday to figure it out. But the most important thing you can do for yourself is self-care, and self-care means that you value you over everyone else. And it sounds selfish, and it sounds like, those aren't the teachings. That's not how we grew up. But it really is true. If we want to be safe as people, we need to make sure that that we are getting what we need out of life. And sometimes that means medication, sometimes that means talk therapy, sometimes that means hugs, sometimes that means, puppies and babies and all of that stuff. And a lot of times that means drawing boundaries and just saying, hey, I'm not in a mind space to speak about that right now. So that's where I'm going to leave you tonight. This is Sharing My Crazy 29.5. Hey everyone, so this is my day 30 of this 30 days of sharing my crazy, and when I started the day I thought it was gonna be like this super awesome empowering post because I felt really good, and I felt I wanted to do things. I wanted to get out of the house, and I forced Bobby out of the house, and anyone who knows Bobby, that is a difficult thing to do. And we were having fun, and I was in a little bit of a manic mode, not in the way that manic depression is, because in manic depression the manic can last for a very, very long time. This was just, a blip. It was a manic blip in the radar. And so I'm just talking and talking and talking, and I have all of these great ideas, and there are these things that I want to do, and there's, I'm feeling like I'm going to be able to do it all, and I went shopping, and I went to Anthropologie, which, as we all know, is my favorite. It will always hold a place in my heart. And if anyone ever needs to get me a present, the answer is always an Anthropologie gift card. So, we're there, and I'm returning some stuff, and Bobby was like, oh, let's go downstairs and look at their sale section. And so I found some really cute things, and I was feeling really good, and I was like, man, maybe this is it. Maybe this is a turning point. And I allowed myself to get unnecessarily excited, because this entire time, if you've been watching these videos, you've known that I've been saying that it's a process, and just because you have a good day doesn't mean that the rest of your days are going to be good. If we're going to be in this world together, we need to understand what the other is going through, no matter how much you hate that other, because trust me, there are some others out there right now that I could really do without. But I'm hoping through dialogue and through videos like these that people start to understand a little bit more this side of the coin. So I know this is a long one, and it probably won't be the last. I'll probably pop in and give updates about, you know, when I start work and when something cool happens or when something terrible happens. Because the other thing that I have found about this is I'm not a journaler, because I judge what I write. And no matter what I tell myself or anyone else tells me, I judge what I write, and so it's not helpful. But I have found that this is a way for me to just get it out there and hopefully try to help people without judging myself. And so the experience has been really cool and really amazing. And you know, I do think also that I'm on the right path with my medications. The Klonopin seems to be doing a better job of lessening the, I call it the buzz, lessening the baseline of anxiety that I feel. I still do have panic attacks, so, you know, I need to figure out what to do at that point, but it's a process, and we'll get there. And thanks for watching, and thanks for reaching out. It's really meant the world to me. I had someone just recently, you know, Facebook message me saying that she now kind of understands something that a coworker has gone through. And that's just really cool, because it is hard to understand. It's really hard to be on the outside of it and looking at these people and thinking, just get the fuck out of bed. Like, just go to work, pump gas, go shopping. And so if I can help a single person understand that it's not that easy and it's bigger than that, and I feel like I've done a little tiny bit of good. Anyways, I love you all, and I'm sending so much love out into the world. And I'm sorry that I cried in this one too. I should rename this like sharing my crazy crying. But you guys have been awesome, and your support has been awesome, and I love you all.